This is Golf with Jay Delsing. A two-time All-American at UCLA. A participant in nearly 700 PGA Tour events. 7 professional wins to his credit. Over 30 years of professional golf experience. A member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
Welcome into Golf with Jay Delsing. We are originating from Wild Crush, which is located in Town and Country. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and we're presented by Doherty Business Solutions. On the Range is also brought to you by Family Golf and Learning Center and the Gateway section of the PGA. Our guest for this edition of Golf with Jay Delsing will be the head professional at Bellerive Country Club, and that's Mike Tucker. But first and foremost, Jay Bird, always great to see you.
You too, Danny Mac. Thanks for being with me. And, you know, it's really going to be fun to talk with Tuck. This is a really super competitive guy, really good player, while at the same time, without question in the top echelon in the PGA of America in terms of head golf professionals around the country.
I can't wait to find out how they got the PGA, what's happened since then, and then we've got the BMW coming up, also the President's Cup coming through St. Louis, and just what that means for our region and for Bellerive Country Club.
It's a huge deal. First of all, I think, Danny, the last thing I read in 2018, the economic boom for our region was like $200 to $300 million with all the people coming in, the television, the different levels and layers that game touches is incredible. But I want to talk to him a little bit about how do you put on something like this?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a big endeavor.
Well, you need the help not only from the community and the corporate support around the country and locally, but also just the space around there for parking, getting the patrons in, how that all goes about. And I'm sure there's a lot of the tour stops that are looking at how Bellerive put this on and saying, we need to copy that to some extent.
Oh, yeah. We, St. Louis, I mean, smashed it out of the park. One of the things that we've seen in continuation from that event is the Ascension Charity Classic.
That's right.
Nick and Steve Spratt and the rock stars up at Ascension have just continued that sort of high-level event. And, Danny, one of the things, it's our community, and you've raised millions and millions of dollars with some of your golf events and things like that, but our corporate community supports, man. It's really supportive.
Well, that's why we call it one of the best sports cities in America, and there's no doubt. But it's not just baseball. It's not just what we've seen with the Battlehawks. It's not just MLS, but it's some of the events that even if you're the casual golf fan that you get behind and support it because it's important to the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, look at what's happened at Norwood.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I mean, and you know, Danny, right after Bellerive in 2018, Nick told me that the commissioner said, we got to have St. Louis on the schedule.
What do you think it's going to mean then because of that with the President's Cup and an international event coming to St. Louis?
I know the tour would love a permanent stop here. I know they would. I just think all of these examples of how the community supports it, how the golf fan shows up. Look at the spectators we had at the Ascension Charity Classic the last 2 years. I mean, you've been there every day. It's crazy. So it only shows us in a really super positive light, and that's fantastic to me.
I know that you've played Bellerive a number of times. The course has changed over the years to accommodate the Tiger effect and the length in the game. But to put on an event like this, the membership and everybody involved has to step up. And so you got to sit there and say to Bellerive, thank you for what they've done for the community.
100%. I mean, 100%. And Bellerive is keeping us St. Louisans in that loop, man. And you know, for golf nerds like me, you and I mean, that's a big deal.
PGA Championship was last weekend. Boy, that course at Oak Hill was tough in Rochester, New York. And if you think about trying to play on some of these events, and you've done it, but the U.S. Open, the PGA Championship, it's almost to the point where it's ridiculous at how hard it's set up.
Oh, no question. And I mean, how about hats off to Mike Block? I
Wow.
mean, what
Club
a
Pro.
show. And Club Pro, he's got some St. Louis ties. And I mean, Danny, that's so special. And the game, drops a moment like that on you. That's really super cool.
One of the best moments of the weekend was his hole-in-one on Sunday.
Ridiculous.
And
just a slam dunk. And he's playing with Rory of all people. I mean, I bet you there wasn't any oxygen on that first tee for him. And he just did himself such a solid. So proud.
So again, On the Range, presented by Family Golf and Learning Center, also the Gateway section of the PGA. I know in talking with you, you wanted to tip your cap to not only Mike Tucker, who is the head professional at Bellerive and our guest coming up, but also, generally speaking, what Bellerive has done for our community.
Absolutely. The tip of the cap is brought to you by the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, 314-966-0303. Colin Burnt, great guy down there. Colin, thanks for the support. Absolutely. Tipping our cap to Bellerive, to the golf courses, to the entities that just keep delivering. Danny, there's so many offshoots for the good that stuff like this happens for, raising money for the needy, growing the game. You see the kids, that watch the great professionals do their thing, and now they're excited to play. And then Bellerive just hosted the women's Open qualifying. So what else needs to be said? But anyway, thank you to Colin and Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. And reach out to me, Jay, at jdelsingolf.com. I'll personally introduce you to Colin, and he'll help you out with a vehicle.
Looking forward to visiting with Mike Tucker. We are at Wild Crush, which is located in Town and Country. We do this one time a month. Always fun to do that. Mike has been kind enough to join us. We'll visit with him coming up next on the Front Nine. This has been On the Range, presented by Family Golf and Learning Center and the Gateway section of the PGA. It is the Front Nine from Wild Crush coming up next.
That was On the Range with Jay Delsing. For news on the latest golf equipment, tips, and to ask Jay a question, log on to jdelsinggolf.com. Coming up, it's the Front Nine on Golf with Jay Delsing.
Family Golf and Learning Center. No matter your age or skill level, Family Golf and Learning Center, located in Kirkwood, has something for you. They've got it all. PGA, LPGA instruction, double-decker driving range, par 3 golf course, TrackMan simulators, and so much more. This is St. Louis's premier practice facility. To schedule a lesson or to find out what they can offer you and your family, visit FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center.
The official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show is the Dean Team. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. They provide me, Pearlie, and our families with all of our cars. The reason we went with the Dean Team is because we could trust them. We knew at the Dean Team they were going to take care of us, and they have. They made the entire car buying experience so simple. It was more than just simply selling us a vehicle. The Dean Team made our car buying experience seamless and enjoyable throughout that entire process. The Dean Team has the complete car buying steps done before you head into their showroom. They're ready to answer all your questions and set your mind at ease when buying a vehicle. At the Dean Team, they offer new, pre-owned, and all the services included with your Dean Team purchase. When you're with the Dean Team, they become lifelong friends. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, located at Manchester Road in Kirkwood. The Dean Team.
The Legends of Golf return to St. Louis in 2023. You won't want to miss one of the strongest fields in golf. Ernie Els, Steve Stricker, Bernard Longer, John Daly, and many more when they compete for the 2023 Ascension Charity Classic title, September 5th through the 10th at historic Norwood Hills Country Club. All proceeds benefit area charities. Together, we were able to donate over $1 million to those most in need last year. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com.
Daugherty Business Solutions, our title sponsor, is a leader in our community in so many areas. Do they have over 2,500 teammates in over 30 states and 3 countries? Yes, they do. Are they the largest IT consultant firm in our area? Yes, they are. Are they the largest software developer in the region? Yes, they are. But here are a few more important things to know about Daugherty Business Solutions. They were the presenting sponsor of the Ascension Charity Classic. This is a community game changer First of all, it builds diversity in the IT workforce. Hundreds of mostly African-American women are getting $50,000 to $60,000 a year jobs right out of high school. That's right out of high school. Ron Daugherty, company founder, chaired the 2023 Heart Ball, which supported the local American Heart Association chapters and raised over $600,000 in one evening. These are just a few examples of the many things that Daugherty Business Solutions do for our community. Daugherty Business Solutions.
This is the Front Nine on Golf with Jay Delsing. The Front Nine is presented by the Ascension Charity Classic, September 5th through the 10th at Norwood Hills Country Club. Find out more at ascensioncharityclassic.com.
Golf with Jay Delsing, originating from Wild Crush. We're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions, and it's awesome to have the head professional at Bellerive Country Club, Mike Tucker, as our guest. And Mike, it's always great to see you, and thanks for stopping by Wild Crush.
Well, I appreciate the invite, and again, I'm Wild Crush is impressive. I'm really I'll be back.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so.
How many years now at Bellerive Country Club?
Well, I'm starting my 27th as head professional, and in total, this would be 32. Working for Jerry for 2 years, then came into when I first started in 1987, then came back in 94 and worked 3 seasons for him before he headed down to South Florida, and there you go.
Jerry being your brother.
Jerry being my older brother, yes, my mentor.
Here's something that's really cool about the Tuckers that people may or may not know of, but you hear it in other sports, especially the NFL, the Belichick tree, where he's got these coaching disciples and these that are all spread out throughout the NFL. It's the same way for Jerry and Mike Tucker. They groom young men and young women to get familiar with the game, show them how to do it at a first-class way and basis, and then turn them loose. And you guys got people all over the place, man.
Yeah, we're fortunate. You know, I obviously started with my first co-assistant at Bellerive was Joe Schwent, who's been the figurehead at St. Albans for all these years, and then we started at Bellerive after Jerry left as co-ed professionals, and John Hayes, Larry Emery, Brian Fote, who's been our teaching professional and who's been ranked #1 teacher in the state of Missouri, you know, on and off for the last 20 years. And then some of my guys that have gone on to do some really neat things. And whether or not it's head pro or directors of golf or teaching professionals, you know, we're fortunate enough to have a great facility and great membership that supports having the best staff we can. And I've got the best club fitter right now in Jeffrey Schulte, and our merchandising is kicking it. So we're just really happy to be able to have. I told you, Jay, a long time ago, I hired my weaknesses, and I have a lot of weaknesses. So that's why I've got a good sized staff.
Well, you are considered one of the best at what you do, not only in the area, but statewide and nationwide. A lot of people look to you for guidance. So I mean that sincerely. What does it take to be a head professional at a place like Bellerive? What is the resume like?
Well, I tell you what, probably to sum it up is to be flexible, be creative. Don't rest on whatever championship or successes you've had in the past, because we see a lot of people in our business get complacent, and times change. You know, in the world of golf, as you know, Jay and Dan, technology comes into play. Well, I'm not a computer techie kind of guy, so you better find some people that are. And that's why I have, again, referring to our club fitting business, and Jeffrey Schulte, who's the #1 club fitter in the area. He's got his TrackMan out there. I mean, that's not my thing, but it really sets us apart from other people. Being creative with member events, and even the demographics and the diversity of your membership. You know, more women playing the game of golf, many more juniors playing and embracing junior golf. As you know, Dan, with your kids, it's just let's not be what we were in the 70s and 80s. Let's roll with the times and try to bring it up to speed. And sometimes we can get set in our ways, and that's not going to be the right way to go. So hire good people, come up with programming that's current and fun and cool, and then go get it.
You know, Mike, one of the things, though, that you left out is how much you care. You love the game, and it shows. And you don't do what you're doing for as long as you've done. And same with your bro, if you don't love the game and care deeply.
Well, exactly, and I've followed in my brother's footsteps, and everything I've done in the game of golf, or every place I've been able to go, is all due credit to Jerry. And I said it last time I was on your show, Jay, that he's mentored a lot of people, and I'll be at the top of that list. And I need a lot of mentoring, but he's been the catalyst to my career, and I watched him do everything. He was a Renaissance golf pro. He was player, teacher, merchandiser. He merchandised the 1992 PGA Championship while he was playing in the championship, because I caddied for him, which is an amazing a challenge you would think. And he actually played well. So teacher, all the way through the gambit. And I just said, wow, if I can do half of that, I'll be pretty successful. But I've seen I've seen his other, proteges do well, and I'm just trying to keep up.
Mike Tucker is our guest, the head professional at Bellerive Country Club. You mentioned how times have changed, and people want to play Bellerive, and you've had to change the course over the course of time, from 1992 to what we saw in the recent PGA to what you had this past week with the U.S. Open women's qualifying. But the course has changed. Is that because of Tiger or technology? What is the reasoning, you think?
Oh, I think back in the 90s, the courses, late 90s, early 2000s, they realized that a player like, let's go back first to a player like John Daly, who I saw him at Crooked Stick in 1991 carry all the bunkers that were supposed to be deterrents. So, Jay, you may have played in that event, and you played with Daly, and I'm sure you're out there going, wow, he's starting to make this golf course, this is obsolete now. That bunker that's supposed to, catch my errant tee shot or deter me one way or another, he's just taking it over, and that's scary. So we saw Tiger start to turn golf courses into pitch and putt golf courses, and that's the way the game's played. It's a power game. We saw DeChambeau do it. I'm not pulling against Bryson, but I'm glad he's gone back to a little bit more of a humanized look, losing his weight and getting back into some of the nuance, because I think golf is best when there are shots to be made and not just bomb and gouge. And I'm a big fan of that. That's why we had to do some things. We had to relocate push some bunkers down the fairways. Our green complexes got more difficult. In other words, we'll give you a big target. Our greens are 8,200 square feet, unlike the ones they had at Oak Hill this past week at 6,600 square feet. But we have 3 greens within a green. Like they're big greens, but they're divided, and that's what Reese Jones did in 05-06. So I think we had to modernize the golf course a little bit, keep up with the times, but still stay to your classic, your classic design. We didn't put ponds in the middle of the fairways or railroad ties or anything like that. We just tried to make a classic golf course, keep it classy, but keep it current.
Tuck, one of the things, my hat's off to, your membership for keeping major championship golf and PGA Tour caliber sort of golf in the St. Louis metro region is just spectacular. I mean, Danny, we talk about it all the time, mostly off the air, but I mean, Bellerive's the reason that we're having these championships, and it takes a membership, a really committed membership, because as you know, Tuck, with the build-outs and all the things that go with a modern-day golf, you lose a lot of time that these members, would rather be spending out at that beautiful place. I can't hardly imagine watching Tiger play 18 and Koepka play 18 driver L wedge, even though it's 480 or however long it measures from the back tee.
Right. Well, to that point, you still have to hit the shot. Even if you can carry the ball 305 to 320, you still have to hit it in the right spot. And when Koepka hit driver on 18, he didn't really need to hit driver, but he did, and he hit a good tee shot. If he pulls it 10 yards left, now he brings 5 and 6 into play. Now he's in trouble. But to going back to the main point that you mentioned, Jay, it's our membership and leadership embrace championship golf. And that is in our mission statement, to provide an opportunity for not just our members of Bellerive, but the community, the bi-state region, even the whole Midwest, to see championship golf. We're fortunate enough to have a physical plant and a championship golf course that allows that to happen, and a membership that, again, once embraces it and sees it as, this is a way we can, it's a little bit of a give back to the community, but it's also, we enjoy it. I mean, the membership, there are a few that, may not be as crazy about some of our championships as others, but I would say 85% of our membership will have the time of their lives every time we host an event. And the members, I will remember walking into the member tent on Sunday afternoon in 2018 when Tiger was making his run. Only time I'd been in the members tent, hospitality tent all week, and it was literally rocking to the point where it was shaking so much. I'm like, I'm going to get the heck out of here, because if this thing collapses, it'll be the second biggest story. Tiger winning would maybe one, then membership tent collapses would be two. But it was quite an event. So I think once you do put the time and the energy and the effort in there, then the members can relax and enjoy the week, and that weekend is unbelievable.
And Tuck, what most people may not know is that the golf course, I mean, Bellerive hosted a major championship within 5 years of its inception, right?
Correct.
Somewhere in that, which is unheard of. And
65 Open was 5 years after the golf course opened, right?
And so that's kind of in the Bellerive DNA, Danny. I mean, it's kind of what Bellerive does.
Well, you mentioned it's in the mission statement too.
Right. I mean, it is. We're fortunate in so many ways to be able to host championship golf. And we do have the 2026 BMW Championship coming up in August, and then the President's Cup in 2030, and that's international. We'll never have seen international flavor like that before. And the PGA, we squeezed every square foot out of that property, plus thanks to our friends over at Whitfield and Kirk of the Hills, who allowed us to come in and hang out at their place for a couple of weeks. So it takes neighbors, it takes the community. We change traffic patterns, and the Missouri State, the Highway Patrol, Creve Coeur, Chesterfield, we move so many things around, and they're so gracious and accommodating. So it takes a community to put this on. We're just happy to host it.
The residual effects now, looking back at the PGA, what do you take away from that remarkable run that you had? Koepka wins it, but what were the residual effects for Bellerive and for the community as you reflect on it?
Well, I think it hit in a time we had lost the Rams. There was a gentleman that left town that wasn't so warm and fuzzy to the city of St. Louis, and I think it was an opportunity to show the country that St. Louis is a major sports market. Now you've seen what the Battlehawks have done, what the MLS team, what City has done. 52,000 on Saturday, 53,000 on Sunday. I mean, we couldn't have put another body out there. And I think the iconic moment of Tiger walking over the walkway and then panning down to the literal thousands, the throngs of people down there cheering him, you just don't see that in many places. And I think it showed St. Louis was the winner. I think the city was the winner.
I had heard that you kept the merchandise tent open, and the PGA Tour said, go ahead and do it because the demand for so much merchandise was out there. Is that true?
Well, I think there's a formula to the merchandise program on the week of a championship, and almost everybody does this, where you go hard your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday you stop bringing in things, and then Sunday you put it on sale, and then Monday you have a big blowout clearance sale. They were selling so much merch that it was, do we put it on sale for Sunday because we really are running out of stuff? And then Monday, there was hardly anything left. So that sale,
amazing,
it was pretty much gone. It set a record in merch sales. So we show up and we turn out for all those events.
We're golf nerds, Tuck, but and we unmistakably live in a baseball town. We know that, but the number of people that watched the PGA Championship from like 200 countries and 500 million people. I mean, as much as I love baseball, and you do too, Danny, that dwarfs what the Cardinals have done.
Well, we have to remember that virtually every championship we host is an international championship. So when Kokiadoki won in 2013, which obviously I don't think either one of you two or even Jay playing tour golf were probably familiar with Koki. Wonderful, wonderful man. One of the greatest guys. Was happy to give him a honorary membership to Bellerive at Oak Hill last time the senior PGA was up there, and he was so honored. He was so thankful. But just think about the country of Japan and how golf crazy they are, and what we saw with Hideki, Matsuyama winning the Masters, and just the eyes and attention of a whole country. So every time we host an event, the BMW Championship, now the international event, which is the President's Cup, it's going to bring all the eyes of every major country will be on St. Louis when we host these events. And again, the viewership, as much as we love Cardinal baseball, people in Montana may not be watching, but people around the world are watching golf.
We're going to get to those events right after this timeout. This is Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Doherty Business Solutions. We are at Wild Crush, located in Town and Country. So we're going to talk about the upcoming BMW. The President's Cup is coming. And this past week, U.S. Open Women's Qualifying. That was this past week at Bellerive. More coming up. Our guest, Mike Tucker. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
That was the Front Nine, presented by the Ascension Charity Classic. Coming up, it's the Back Nine and more of golf with Jay Delsing.
Powers Insurance and Risk Management combines 200 years of experience and cutting-edge products to deliver exceptional service, value, and clarity to their clients. Powers Insurance will deliver the highest quality property and casual insurance programs and strategic planning consultation services in the industry. Insurance can be overwhelming and confusing. It can be tough to understand. Powers Insurance simplifies it for you and your business. Powers Insurance and Risk Management will partner with you by providing ongoing assistance, consultation, and service that will help you control your insurance expenses and your workplace safety. Find out how Powers Insurance can help you. Visit powersinsurance.com. That's powersinsurance.com.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient, it's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Manno's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Manno's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield.
This is Jay Delsing. Did you know that Marcone is the largest authorized appliance parts distributor in the world? That's right, the largest in the world. Did you know that Marcone is based right here in our backyard of St. Louis, Missouri? Well, that's pretty impressive. What's more impressive is the way that they give back to the St. Louis community and our region. CEO Jim Sowers has donated service dogs to the wounded servicemen and women of our armed forces. Suites at St. Louis Blues games have been donated and auctioned off, in which all proceeds were given to the Backstoppers. Then there was the Marcone Police and Firefighters viewing deck at the Ascension Charity Classic this past year. It was a huge success. So much so that it's being implemented on other tour stops around on the PGA Tour. To Jim Sowers and his incredible team at Marcone, we want to say thank you. Thank you, Marcone, a proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
This is the Back Nine on Golf with Jay Delsing. The Back Nine is presented by Pro-Am Golf, located in Brentwood. See what Pro-Am Golf can do for you.
Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Doherty Business Solutions. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Our guest is the head professional at Bellerive Country Club, Mike Tucker. Let's talk about the most recent event that came through Bellerive, U.S. Open Women's Qualifying, and I know you guys knocked it out of the park.
Well, the weather helped, but we were fortunate enough to have the USGA Women's Qualifier at Bellerive last week, and I will say it's the highest level of women's golf ever played at the club. We've hosted quite a few events. We have yet to have the good fortune to host a women's open or women's LPGA. I think that is on the horizon for us. So it was great to have some of the best players in the country come out and play. And the golf course played tough, but obviously players always find a way to play well.
Tuck, that's what I was going to say. And the women are amazing. And for the folks that listen to the show, I say this all the time. I really feel like, especially the men, can relate so much better to watching a really solid female pro, because they could just relate a little to some of the distances, not the accuracy and some of the skill level, but when the guys play and the guys swing, the speed, I liken it, I think, Danny, we were talking about watching Djokovic, serve, I can't even see the ball anymore, 130, 140 miles an hour. It's the same with the guys on the tour, but the LPGA players, you can learn a lot from those gals.
I was always told, and always, I think this was preached to us as young professionals, especially those of us who've taught the game, that obviously a player with power, a player with strength, has a little more, Jay, and that we talk about, power leaks in the golf swing, where yes, there's some imperfections, but if you have enough speed to spend, watching some players that hit cuts instead of a hard tumbling draw because they hit it far enough. I feel like I have to hit rope hooks out there to get it to roll 40 yards, or because I can't hit the little butter cut because it doesn't go anywhere, but my 215-yard butter cut. So I think when you watch women play who aren't just by nature as strong as some of the guys, very fit, very athletic, they have to be more efficient. So their golf swings are, I think, technically better because they have to be.
We talk about that all the time.
And I think that's what is to watch a good LPGA player play, or a top player. You're just going to see more a technically sound golf swing, and we're not going to see a lot of excess movements. We're not going to see a lot of brute force where you're just gouging at it or lunging at it. You're going to see a beautiful golf swing, and that would be one to emulate.
And Tuck, that's what they're doing. They're swinging within themselves. They're not trying. I get out there and
Jay, I want to say, and not to interrupt, but I think this was said by maybe Ben Hogan, that was it Mickey Wright. He said Mickey Wright had the best golf swing of any professional, professional player, boy or girl, man, woman. Mickey Wright was, if you wanted to emulate a golf swing, that was the one to watch. And when you hear the best players in the history of the game say these kind of things, you can pay attention.
Yeah. The gals just swing within themselves. They're not trying to stretch an extra 15 or 20 out of something. And they just, I don't know if it's more disciplined or what, but man, it's impressive.
Technically, they look different to me. They technically are so sound across the board when you watch the ladies play. And
a lot of it's flexibility too, especially watching some of the younger players play. They've got good length and width and maximize they're efficient. And I think that's something that a lot of our big, strong guys get out there and, that can, they can out bench press or out whatever weights. I'm not a weight guy, but whatever those things that you do, Jay.
Look, right. We're doing a lot of weights.
And, you watch some little skinny guy out, not me, but I'm saying this, whip it out there. And a lot of times there's a different way to get it than just it's all muscle. So anyway, then obviously watching short game and wedges and all that. And like I said, there's some great golf being played out there, and we were very, very. It was very cool to have that experience out there at Bellerive.
Mike Tucker is our guest head professional at Bellerive Country Club. We hear always how tough it is, the U.S. Open on the men's side. How hard did you make it on Wednesday? How tough was the course set up?
Well, the USGA, our local Metropolitan Amateur Golf Association, Kurt Rowe and his team set it up. I've played a lot of their qualifiers. Jay, I know you have as well. I think we're known as having some of the tougher setups in those qualifiers. So it was challenging. And the USGA, when they talk about the US Open, and be it the men's or the women's, the mantra is we're trying to identify the best players. And when they say that's code for we're going to make it really hard and see who can survive. And that's kind of what happened. And again, no matter how hard you set it up, no matter how tough you and I think it was that day, someone always comes in with someone's like, damn, that's a really good round, or but I appreciate that. This is it's a endurance test, 36 holes walking. On a fairly warm day, you've got to be more than just a good player. You got to be mentally and physically fit to get through this.
I want to ask you too, how do you get these events? People are saying, well, you had the PGA all the way back at 92. You just had it recently. You've got what we're talking about here on the women's side. The BMW's coming up. You've got the President's Cup right around the corner. Really, it's not that far away. No. How does it happen? How do you get these events?
Well, I was just up at Oak Hill, prior to the championship that they just hosted. And, we started doing this to talk about 1965. Hort Harden was at Bellerive, who was the president of the USGA, basically brought the Open Championship to Bellerive in its infancy, which ready or not, here they come. Yeah. And in 1965, if you can Google or look up the 65 Open, for those of you who've seen Bellerive, it is amazing what the golf course looked like in 1965. The trees were
saplings.
Yeah, the 80-foot trees were literally 10 feet tall. The golf course was, Muirfield, all the neighborhoods didn't exist. It was quite quite a spectacle, and 2 over par, ties for first with Gary Player, the eventual champion with Kel Nagel. So even though it was virtually treeless and a barren golf course, it played darn hard. And I think that's what got us on the map. Then we had the 1981 the inaugural U.S. Mid-Amateur, won by Jim Holtgreave, St. Louisan. And that kept us, a little bit of a splash. But getting the 92 PGA, which started in 80s, 85, 86, 87. It was announced in 87, my first year there as an assistant. Again, got us back in the spotlight, but then you had to stay there. There's so many courses and clubs in the country competing to get a PGA Championship, a U.S. Open, women's, seniors, whatever it may be. We do a good job and have a really good core group of folks that are ambassadors for the club. We also have great community support, so if we ever need to prove to anybody, we just have to make a few calls, and our corporate leaders will come out and make a statement for us. But the club has done an excellent job of sending its people to these events, association gatherings, what have you, to make sure that we are still in the loop.
So do they call you or you call them, or it's a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, I think it depends on the event. And a lot of times what you'll see is the USGA or the PGA will package events. So if you want the PGA Championship, you're likely going to host a senior PGA or an LPGA. Congressional, and my former general manager, Jeffrey Kriefel, who went to Congressional about 5 years ago, they have 7 PGA championships coming up. Not the Ryder Cup and the PGA, but they also have an LPGA, a senior. They're having a junior. They're having a Club Pro Championship, the PGA Professionals Championship, which is what I can play in. So it's a package deal. You probably aren't going to just host a Ryder Cup or PGA without having to be they want to form a bind and have a tie to a club to be able to go there. A lot of courses in the country, they're either on the USGA, they're in the USGA family or then the PGA family, and that's okay. Some cross boundaries, but for the most part, you develop those relationships, and they change over the years, but it's definitely a negotiation that starts way back. I mean, to get 2018 started in 2004. So, I mean, they can just imagine some of the conversations that we had. And again, we were fortunate enough to have some people at the club that really saw that as being something that was important, and let's go get it.
Tuck, it's interesting because a lot of these places, you were up at Oak Hill last week, I think you said, and you mentioned Congressional. A lot of these places have 36 holes. And so I know that when Congressional runs a men's U.S. Open, for example, Denny, they take holes from both courses. And Bellerive doesn't do that. Bellerive's got the original 18, and that's what you have. And it's also a bigger commitment for a club like Bellerive because their members are going to lose the access to their facility.
Well, having that extra 18 holes like Oak Hill does or did allows you to do so much more with practice areas, hospitality. There's room to move. And when you go out to Bellerive and walk around, it's 232 acres, which is a big, for a 18-hole country club, is a lot of space. But again, it's maxed out when you host a major championship. The circus gets bigger and bigger every year. And I mean that in a nice way. But it does take, even if you have the golf course, you got to have the facilities, you got to have the infrastructure and the room to move.
So our guest is the head professional at Bellerive Country Club, and that is Mike Tucker. So let's advance the story here. You've got the BMW right around the corner, and then the President's Cup, which is amazing to see that international flavor, as Jay mentioned, coming to St. Louis. Tell us a little bit about the BMW, when it is for fans that don't know, and what you're trying to do to get ready for it.
Well, as of right now, and I don't think the schedule is going to change between now and 26, it'll be in August. It'll be in the second week of August, I believe, in 2026. So August of 2026, the BMW Championship, which will be the second of 3 legs of the FedEx Cup. So when we hosted in 08, it was the second of 4, which that change actually elevates this event. So now there are only 3. The FedEx Cups, or the FedEx Cups model of 4 levels of events, 4 events to the championship, allowed a player to maybe even skip one if they were in good position, or potentially you could miss somebody or make the event less important. Now it's the second of 3. So the top 70 players will be here. As of now, that's what the field will be, top 70 players going in the FedEx Cup. So your best players of that year of 2026 will be here, and no one misses it. The payoff is very lucrative. It's we would say astonishing, but in major sports, I mean, heck, I mean, $10 million, $15 million, $20 million that's a utility infielder, right?
It's a drop in the bucket, man.
I know,
it's no
exactly.
Big deal.
So that makes that event, that again, it elevates that event, and I know elevate's the word that they're using on tour now, but that actually puts it in a very prominent position, international flavor as well. But then we go to 2023 or 2030. Just 4 years later, in 2030, hosting the President's Cup, which is the international team, which means it's all of the world minus Great Britain and Ireland and the European players. So you take all of Europe out, but then you've got the Australians, the South Africans, the South Americans, the Canadians, the Koreans, the Japanese player, and that is going to be spectacular. I do believe by then we will have worked out all of the issues that the tour is facing now with the divided events and tours. I think that will be worked out. So we will once again see the best American players against the best international players. And it's who knows? We're probably talking about somebody we haven't heard of that will be the star of the event, like Tom Kim was at the last President's Cup. No one knew Tom Kim very well, and he was like an overnight sensation. And there'll be more media here for that event than any event that St. Louis has ever seen, because every country that has a player here will have an incredibly large contingent of media. That'll be super cool for St. Louis.
Tuck, I think, was it 1971 when St. Louis hosted the Ryder Cup at Old O-Dub at Old Warson? So having an international competition like this, team competition, is really we haven't seen anything like that really in the modern day.
Well, it's just imagine the Olympics and what that does for a community, bringing in, I mean, the national flags, 12 players, probably 5-6 different countries, I'm going to guess, because unlike Europe and Great Britain, where a lot of players are either Irish or the Irish English, some Spaniards, but we're talking it could be 7-8 different countries.
Wow.
And again, you're going to see the flags flying. You're going to see so many fans come to. I mean, it's a really cool deal. And I've been to a few Ryder Cups and a President's Cup now, and it's different. It's a little bit, it's more akin to what we know as baseball in our regular tour events, and then you go to a soccer game and watch, especially a World Cup game. And I'm not going to put it on the World Cup level, but I do think people will be surprised on how many people will be in town in 2030.
Sjogren Cup, you just had that too. So how did that go?
I'd rather not talk about that, Jay, because Nettie knew better than that. But I'm gonna. No,
I had to ask you about it, Mike.
I tell you what, win, lose, or draw, we embrace playing. I'm, as a Gateway PGA member, very proud Gateway PGA member for 35 years. We've always enjoyed playing the local metropolitan amateurs. Good friends of mine. Some of those guys turn on to go. They come to our side and turn pro. But over the years, we've been playing these events. They played in a variety of different ways since the 70s. We've been playing these events since the 90s. But and I'll give Tom O'Toole and the Metro, along with some of our guys, came up with the brilliant idea and no-brainer idea to name this after Bob Sjogren, who was the epitome of a classic rules official that was, I want to say, how Shogi, if you knew Bob Sjogren, he was never in doubt, became more benevolent to the player, but was always prepared to make a ruling, and if he was in doubt, he never had a question to go ask, but he always again, he was never in doubt. But a consummate professional in business became a rules official after working with Tom O'Toole and my brother Jerry, who got him involved. And we said, you know what? We have a chance to elevate these matches. Let's name him after Bob Sjogren. So the Robert A. Sjogren Cup, we call him the Shogi Cup. It's your best local PGA professionals versus the best amateurs. And we came on top the first couple of years, and now we're 2 down. The amateurs clipped us 18-10, and they played well. And I will tell you that the Gateway PGA, we have our work cut out for us. But we were able to host that at Bellerive every other year and Greenbrier every other year because Bob was also, Shogi was a member there and a club champion. So I will work hard and get on that team next year and do my part and try to win a point. But we enjoy playing with the AMs. Peter Weaver from our club, just great guys and a spirited competition.
Mike, you were at the PGA Championship last weekend as we wrap it up here. What kind of things did you take away from that you can improve upon at Bellerive with the BMW coming up, whether it be that or the President's Cup? And kind of a sidebar to that, how often do you hear from other clubs that are getting ready to host these big events saying, how can we make it like what you had with the PGA? You guys knocked it out of the park. So those two questions as we wrap it up. Well, talk about the facility first. Oak Hill was an excellent property. They had been Andrew Green, up and coming course architect, did a renovation in 19 that was very well received, kind of restored it to the old Donald Ross golf course. So again, they've had 5 renovations in the last 25 years. So we've had one major one. So you can imagine you got to stay current. You got to keep up with the how far the golf ball is going, how the game is being played. The second thing that the Rochester community and the Western New York community, much like St. Louis, they made the PGA Championship the number one event of not just the week or the month, but the year. I mean, people that showed up, and you think going to Rochester, it's kind of past its heyday of Kodak and Xerox, whoever was there. It doesn't matter. They draw from Buffalo, Syracuse, Toronto. So again, much like St. Louis, we may be overlooked by the big markets, but that market, and again, I use the word embrace, they show up. And they come out and they are excited, and it's the biggest game it's the biggest home game of the year.
Isn't it neat, Tuck, to see what a uniter the game is and brings people, communities together, does all of the fundraising, PGA Reach, which I know you're so deeply involved in, and it goes on and on and on around the country.
Well, PGA Championship came to Bellerive largely because of the concept of PGA Reach, and that, the give back. Again, I use the word circus, comes to town for a week and leaves. What does it leave behind? And the legacy of that was how PGA Reach was founded. And now every section in the country has a program that ties into the PGA Championship. So when it does come to your community, it's going to leave a lot of good behind. And that's just, that's just something that we should do. And the game of golf does a lot for charity. And we got to feel proud about that. Hey, Mike, thanks for stopping in. You're a class act. And thanks for what you've done for St. Louis.
Well, don't stop anytime soon, Tuck. Don't stop.
Yeah, I will, as long as the folks at Bellerive will have me. But thanks for here, and thanks for being a Wild Crush. This is amazing. So we will be back.
Yeah, come back and hang out with us. We have live music on Fridays.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing. Nice plug there, Jay.
Just let us slide that in.
Presented by Doherty Business Solutions. And when we come back, it's the 19th hole. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
This has been the Back Nine, presented by Pro-Am Golf. We'll make the turn into the clubhouse and head into the 19th hole. That's next on Golf with Jay Delsing.
Delsing here, and since 1975, Tom DeGrand and his children have founded and run the top golf store in all of St. Louis. It's located on South Brentwood. The DeGrandts and Pro-Am Golf Centers have been helping all of St. Louis play better golf through better equipment, lessons on the indoor simulators, and by getting you fitted using the state-of-the-art technology. Call 314-647-8054 and set up your personal fitting with CJ. He's the best, and he will help you find the right equipment that's perfect for your game. For nearly 50 years, St. Louis has trusted their games to Pro-Am Golf. Don't you think it's time to take your game to the next level? Call 314-647-8054 or visit them on the web at proamgolfusa.com. It's Pro-Am Golf.
Family Golf and Learning Center. No matter your age or skill level, Family Golf and Learning Center, located in Kirkwood, has something for you. They've got it all. PGA and LPGA instruction, double-decker driving range, par 3 golf course, TrackMan simulators, a large short game green design to help you with all your shots around the green, bunkers, rough, and Zoysia Fairway Pitching. And now open the Tahoma Bermuda Grass Tees, the best turf to hit from in St. Louis. It's all at Family Golf and Learning Center. To schedule a lesson or to find out more, visit FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
Hey guys, Jay Delsing here, and listen up. Remember this name, Redbird Heating and Cooling. That's Redbird Heating and Cooling. 314-320-9507. This is a family-owned and operated St. Louis business. Owner and CEO Jed Dickinson leads their apprenticeship program called the Veterans Vocational. He will teach and sign off on educational and mechanical work hours while you get licensed, as you get paid working for the company. That's Redbird Heating and Cooling, 314-320-9507 or redbirdhvac.com. Start your new career as a licensed HVAC specialist with Redbird Heating and Cooling.
The Legends of Golf return to St. Louis in 2023. You won't want to miss one of the strongest fields in golf. Ernie Els, Steve Stricker, Bernard Longer, John Daly, and many more when they compete for the 2023 Ascension Charity Classic title, September 5th through the 10th at historic Norwood Hills Country Club. All proceeds benefit area charities. Together, we were able to donate over $1 million to those most in need last year. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com.
Hey, this is Jay Delsing for SSM Health Physical Therapy. Our golf program has the same screening techniques and technology as the pros on the PGA Tour use. SSM Health Physical Therapy has the Titleist Performance Institute trained physical therapists that can perform the TPI screening on you, as well as use the K-Vest 3D motion capture system. Proper posture, alignment, etc. can help you keep your game right down the middle. We have 80 locations in the St. Louis area. Call 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Your therapy, our passion.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing, and let's head to the 19th hole.
The 19th hole on Golf with Jay Delsing, originating from Wild Crush in Town and Country, and we're presented by Doherty Business Solutions, and our thanks to Mike Tucker, the head professional at Bellerive Country Club. Jay Delsing, Dan McLaughlin with you, and I loved our visit with Mike.
Yeah, you know what? It's just another one of those people that's part of this community that just does things at a high level and keeps doing them year after year. And he does it whether people notice or not, because he loves it, cares.
And he doesn't make a big deal out of it, but to be the head professional at Bellerive Country Club, and the PGA comes through your club and the BMW and the President's Cup, doesn't do it with a lot of fanfare, but all the questions, all the complaints are coming his way, and he does it with a smile.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Danny, you were talking about some long hours. Oh, my gosh, long hours. So, like he said before, he's got a great staff over there. JD's over there. Carrie's over there. Jeffrey Schulte is doing a lot of his club fitting. We got the great Brian Fote as the teaching professional, and the list goes on. And so kind of run out of superlatives.
Absolutely. So our thanks to Mike Tucker. Also, let's go back to the PGA just a week ago. Are you torn having Koepka win from the LIV Tour?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I wish I wasn't. And that's probably stupid of me, but I was, I also didn't pick him. And, you and I have been hot on our picks. We had Scheffler. I was a little bitter about that, but golf wins, Danny.
Yeah.
It's just great. And nobody, look, when Koepka and DJ and Cam Smith and P. Reed and all those guys left, that didn't make them bad golfers. They just made that choice. Do your thing. Keep playing great golf, and you and I'll keep enjoying it.
And Koepka said, I just want majors. That's all I really focus on. The other stuff is fine, but I just want majors. Have you ever heard of a guy that says, all I'm trying to do I mean, they're all trying to win the majors, but put an emphasis like he does, as much as he does on a major, as opposed to the other stops when he was on the PGA Tour, what he's doing at LIV.
I mean, maybe only Tiger, but that was kind of after the fact. You know, Tiger wanted to rack up as many wins as he could.
He was trying to wipe the field every weekend.
And do it spectacularly and brilliantly and made sure you knew about it. But, you know, talking about Brooks, it looks like he hasn't backed off the grocery cart at all, does it? He looks
a big body,
super big to me. And man, I got to tell you, the guy plays. Here's another thing that's a huge feather in his cap. When you're winning major championships, Danny, you're doing them on venues that are historic. And to go up there at Oak Hill after this most recent redo, and that thing is a beast. And he's had all sorts of weather to deal with, really kind of all 4 seasons. Maybe not a whole lot of summer, but it was cold as hell the first day and rainy. And, you know, he is a tough player. You know what is interesting to me? He said something about Augusta, and he said, you know what? I had the wrong mindset at Augusta. I was playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
Yes.
And so he said, I kind of choked or did whatever you want to call it. But to see him go up and back it up here with the lead, sleeping on the lead on Saturday night, Danny, never easy. He did it.
Our thanks to Mike Tucker, the head professional at Bellerive Country Club. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jay, how do we end the show?
For you, Danny. Hit it straight, St. Louis.
I need it.
Daugherty Business Solutions, our title sponsor, is a leader in our community in so many areas. Do they have over 2,500 teammates in over 30 states and 3 countries? Yes, they do. Are they the largest IT consultant firm in our area? Yes, they are. Are they the largest software developer in the region? Yes, they are. But here are a few more important things to know about Daugherty Business Solutions. They were the presenting sponsor of the Ascension Charity Classic. This is a community game changer. First of all, it builds diversity in the IT workforce. Hundreds of mostly African American women are getting $50,000 to $60,000 a year jobs right out of high school. That's right out of high school. Ron Daugherty, company founder, chaired the 2023 Heart Ball, which supported the local American Heart Association chapters and raised over $600,000 in one evening. These are just a few examples of the many things that Daugherty Business Solutions do for our community. Daugherty Business Solutions.
Family Golf and Learning Center. No matter your age or skill level, Family Golf and Learning Center, located in Kirkwood, has something for you. They've got it all. PGA, LPGA instruction, double-decker driving range, par 3 golf course, TrackMan simulators, and so much more. This is St. Louis's premier practice facility. To schedule a lesson or to find out what they can offer you and your family, visit FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center.
This is Paul Lazinger, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient, it's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Manno's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Manno's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield.
Hey, Jay Delsing here, and I'm privileged to have Daugherty Business Solutions as the title sponsor for the Golf with Jay Delsing show. Every Sunday, 9 a.m., tune in for all the latest in the world of golf. And don't forget to send me an email, jay@jdelsinggolf.com, to enter to win a dozen TP5 golf balls that we give away each week. That's Golf with Jay Delsing, Sunday mornings at 9. Hey guys, Jay Delsing here, and listen up. Remember this name, Redbird Heating and Cooling. That's Redbird Heating and Cooling. 314-320-9507. This is a family-owned and operated St. Louis business. Owner and CEO Jed Dickinson leads their apprenticeship program called the Veterans Vocational. He will teach and sign off on educational and mechanical work hours while you get licensed, as you get paid working for the company. That's Redbird Heating and Cooling, 314-320-9507 or redbirdhvac.com. Start your new career as a licensed HVAC specialist with Redbird Heating and Cooling.
You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing. To connect with Jay, log on to jdelsinggolf.com. You'll see the latest in equipment, find the latest innovations in golf, and get tips from a PGA professional. That's jdelsinggolf.com.
Hey, Delsing here, and my show Golf with Jay Delsing is brought to you, as always, by Daugherty Business Solutions. It's Golf with Jay Delsing, Sunday mornings at 9 for all your golf needs. Reach me at jdelsinggolf.com.